Hello, all. Welcome to another edition of Protalks at SuperPro. I'm your host, Gaurav Tripathi, CEO and co-founder at SuperPro AI. And today, I'm back with another amazing SuperPro, uh, which again he has, as we see with other SuperPros, it's not we don't get SuperPros who are restricted to just one facet of life or who do just one thing. We are getting people who are multifaceted, who wear multiple hats. So today as well, we have got someone who is professionally doing one thing, but yes, he has been doing many other things as well, which we'll come to know. Those who are watching us live, please feel free to put in your questions in chat, whichever platform you are tuning in from, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or our own SuperPro. Please feel free to put in your questions. And those who are watching it later, the recorded versions on YouTube and so on, yes, you can still put in your questions in the comments. Our team will get back to you. And yes, I'll add that Piyush's Super Pro, his Super Pro page link will also be there in the comments and description. So without further ado, I welcome our amazing Super Pro for today, Piyush. Over to you.
Hey, thank you very much, Gaurav, for inviting me into this wonderful journey of Super Pro. I really feel honored to be connected with you and through this platform to a lot of other people. Uh, a little bit of about myself in brief is that I belong to a town called Dhanbad. My father was employed in Indian School of Mines. I did my education there, not in Indian School of Mines, but in the Nobly School in Dhanbad, and then later moved to Pune to complete my graduation in law. After that, I did my MBA in human resource, and after that, my corporate journey started. Well, right from my childhood, I used to always participate, and my parents, especially my father, used to encourage me a lot into public speaking. Be it, I remember during school times, it was recitation competition or be debate contest and stuff. And that was one of the reasons as to why I took up law. But later, I do not know why didn't I ended up practicing. Maybe I was more lured towards a managerial career at that point of time. But nevertheless, with my professional career in human resource, I kept on my passion of public speaking alive. Later, I joined Toastmasters. That's an international forum of public speaking, and participated in quite a lot of speech contests. Was also a part of the division level speech contest, international speech contest, and did pretty well. Side by side, I also did well in my professional career. As I talk, I have about 15 years of experience in different facets of human resource, and you know, uh, I'd fairly well and happy in my life. Earlier in this year, I mean, during February and March, during the lockdown period, I happened to, since we were all in a lockdown phase, we were all locked down in our respective homes. So I thought, why not pen down my thoughts, my experience of working, or my experience as a public speaker. So I penned down my first book on this concept called story showing. So that is how I wrote, and my first book, Stop Telling, Start Showing. And here I am today, speaking to all of you about it.
Cool. Yes. So we will come to that the book part a bit later. Before that, we want
Sure.
to know more about your initial journey. So yeah, right from so you mentioned ISM Dhanbad. So yes, I have a few friends from Dhanbad. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I never got to visit the place, but yes, I definitely have heard about the place. So how was your initial life there? So what was the journey like? Were you good at studies? Average? Really good at? How was it?
Well, I was definitely not among the front benchers in terms of studies, but nevertheless, I managed to pass on year after year. Uh, but from childhood, somehow I was always glued into reading storybooks, be it Charles Dickens, be it Shakespeare, be it Sherlock Holmes. So I was always glued to reading a lot of fiction novels. My school also fortunately had encouraged in these things. So and of course my parents, especially my father. Uh, Growing up, I had a good friend circle. Friend circle. I mean, we did a lot of masti, usual masti that we do. Usually, Dhanbad is a place known, better known for all those things. And growing was fun with friends. It was fun. Uh, yes, after 12th, I had to do some serious thinking about my career also. I thought that only reading books would not do. If at all, I have to also, or rather, only reading fiction novels would not do. I had to also read some academic books if I have to, earn some livelihood. So my father suggested, why don't you go for law? I said, yes, of course. And then I got admission in ILS Law College in Pune back in 1999. And that is how I came to Pune. Did my 5 years law course. And I remember during my fourth year, I did an intern in Eagle Poonawalla group of companies, wherein I worked in the legal department. And my boss was also, working in the labor department, rather, what do you call the personal department that was called that time. Yes. So he suggested, why didn't you, instead of practicing and joining a law firm, why didn't you move into human resource and take up labor laws as your specialization? Frankly, I was not very interested at that point of time. I was more interested to venture into criminal law and start practicing. I had a couple of offers from law firms also, but then, I thought that I spoke to a couple of other people. They say that you will go and you will practice and you will spend years and years. You have to do LLM also. Why don't you go for this MBA course and get into corporate world? I said, okay. Frankly, I was a bit confused, but then I thought I heard my friend's advice and my well-wishers' advice, and I got admission in this Balaji Institute of Modern Management, which is in Watford. Yeah, I completed my master's in labor laws and labor
So hold
welfare.
that thought. Yeah, hold that thought. So the so transition, I'll say even transition from you're thinking about law, so studying law, you did that, and then coming to MBA program. How do you see? Because I'm sure there are relatively fewer lawyers who actually go for the MBA. Yeah, and I haven't seen. I don't know that way really. So how was that transition for you?
Well, there's a difference between a lawyer and a law graduate. You just as there is a difference between a medical student and a doctor.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the difference is. Unless and until okay, so you pass out law and you become a law graduate, but then you have to enroll yourself into a professional body of lawyers, and that is how you get your license to practice and stuff. Yeah. So I the transition, I would say, I frankly was a bit confused, Gaurav. I was at that juncture in my career because my friends with whom we started. I mean, I somehow felt that was it worth studying for 5 years law, and then was it worth doing a practicing law, wherein my interest was in something else. I kept on thinking about them. I kept on exploring. Unfortunately, by that time, I didn't have any, what do you call? I shied away from asking a lot of people, but I did ask people. I asked my family members. At that point of time, I believe I did not get an excellent counseling part of it, that you should do this, because I myself was not clear what is it that I want to do. All I thought was this, that nahi yaar, a shortcut way is to get into corporate through doing an MBA and then start your corporate life 9 to 5. You will at least get a salary. While practicing law, you have to really struggle without any legal background. You really have to go ahead, and then end of it you have to, only then you can see some money. So yeah, I mean, that sort of made the transition. It was by accident, I would say. I ended up doing MBA, but then I'm glad, as I see today, I'm glad that I did that, because I really did well for myself in human resource. Yeah. I did well.
Oh yes, definitely. So
Yeah.
there again, so you did LLM and alongside you complete the MBA, but
Yeah.
again, while you did MBA, I noticed here that so you started on the recruitment side, yeah. While yeah, in HR there are other areas as well where you can start. So why recruitment?
Mm, it was more out of by chance. I mean, or rather, yeah, there was no other option, to be very frank with you. Yeah, because I didn't quite select the right campus. There were certain personal issues at that time going on a personal front. I had to leave campus midway. My father was not well, so a lot of other responsibilities were there. So whatever came, I just picked it up, and then I ended up doing getting into recruitment. So if you look at my career, the initial 2 years were very haphazard. When I say haphazard, I was not truly doing what I want to do. So, but then, yeah, I mean, I would say it was not a waste altogether, because starting with recruitment, I still believe was a good option for me. It helped me to understand business more closely than I would have had understood otherwise. When I say business, that if you look at my job profile in Intercon International as a recruiter, I worked in Pune. There I understood, how does a candidate is selected, and how does the billing happens, what is staff augmentation. So all these business concepts I was able to know, because in human resource, when I studied, it was only human resource. We didn't study marketing, we didn't study finance. We did, but it was just one subject. Here, practically, I was exposed into business, how to do business, what is manpower, planning, how do you recruit people, and then, how do you place them successfully with the client? How does the billing happens out of that? So yeah, that was, yeah. So that was the initial experience that I got, which was good. Now, when I look back, I'm glad that I did. And then after that, of course, starting with KPIT, I got into real business HR profile. And then, I just moved up the ladder, and kept on learning new concepts in HR, kept on getting exposed to new line of businesses, to the new style of practicing human resource. And yeah, eventually, now, I'm pretty much good in my career, heading the HR department for a major IT product company in Pune. Yeah.
So again, given that you did this transition as a fresher, you were faced with dilemma and choices, like which path should you take? What is where do you see, like, as a fresher, now, especially in these challenging times? Naturally, I mean, the world hasn't stopped due to Corona, never it will. But
Absolutely.
we see that people who are graduating now, or graduated recently, or will be graduating very soon, where do you see, what advice would you give to them?
Well, Gaurav, one thing I remember that holded me back was probably a lack of counseling. And that time there was, I mean, now there are, nobody, because I remember at my time when I passed out my 10th, guys were always, and I'm sure you will resonate with me, were always pushed towards science. Do science, take teachers, take biology. I'd
Yeah.
never understood physics, for that matter. I mean, I'd never understood meaning. I never had an interest in that. What I was more interested in was doing literature. You know, and today also, when I talk to my mother, my father is no more. So when I talk to my mother, I tell my mother very often that, Mom, I wish I had, instead of even doing law, I wish I had taken English literature. Who said you cannot do well in English literature? I used to love reading Shakespeare. I could have had made a career out of it. I could have had been a professor in who knows Harvard University. So I would say that, you need to have a proper counseling. Now, in today's time, you no longer are pushed into doing only an engineering or a doctor. You have a lot of
Yeah.
options, but at the same time, it is very difficult then to select what option to go. So you must always take a proper counseling, A, and B, you must always follow your passion. Because if you do that, then you would never regret of selecting any career that you do. I mean, you must always. And how would you find about your passion? Well, you have to look through, you have to introspect, and a counselor helps a lot, a career counselor. Which is why today, in today's time, we see a lot of people, taking help of counselors, career counselors. It's very important. It's very important because at that stage, we really are not sure as to what will work better for us. I mean, I remember somebody telling me rather, when I went to him and told him, it was like about 6, 8 years ago. Oh, I mean, we were just talking and I just casually told him, as I tell you now, that I wish I would have taken literature and, would have had made a good career. But I'm in HR. So that person said that the chances are that you're enjoying HR. If you're not, then you start enjoying because that is the rest of your career. I mean, there is no other option. You're already
Yeah.
34, 35. So,
Right.
you must, if you're not enjoying, you please better start enjoying. That was what it was. Yeah. I think
Uh,
counseling plays a very
that's
important role.
very interesting that you talk about enjoying what you're doing and
Yes.
even whatever job you are in.
Yes.
This is again a typical challenge that uh, I'm sure you would have come across, like maybe hundreds of professionals I have come across, and then
Yes.
a lot of them,
Yes.
yeah, I think hundreds as well. That people who are at a certain stage of their career, yeah, maybe they're not sure of the career path itself, or they struggle to get to the next level or grow in their career even while having good technical skill. Yeah. So what do you see? I mean, in your experience, what has been that factor which is a blocker for these people?
Yeah. So, Gaurav, in my career, I mean, I have had been associating with people and talking to them. One on one is something that is in our KRA also. As a human resource, we try to understand. We
Oh,
try to do a lot of career succession planning and stuff. So one thing that has strongly come up, and I have seen is that the major one of the reasons for why people do not move, or probably their growth becomes stagnant even if they're technically good, their ability to communicate, effectively communicate. And when I say communicate, trust me, it is not about speaking English but expressing their thoughts. I have seen that people struggle, and they sort of leave companies. They come to me and say that, I say, why are you leaving your company, leaving the company? They say that there is no growth, sir. I mean, I'm technically so good. So then I ask them, so what do you think is stopping you? And then when I open his or her the appraisal sheet, it is mentioned there that need to improve on certain soft skills, in which communication is a biggest thing. Because when you grow up the ladder, you not only are expected to be technically very good, but you're also expected to have certain level of interpersonal skills and ability to communicate effectively or express your ideas, be it to the client or as a manager or a leader to your team. So that is where I think people struggle a lot.
or even to your peers at
Yeah,
times.
yeah. I mean, yes, they do. And certain times management also becomes very hesitant then to make them move up the ladder, and as a result they quit. But again, they are caught in that web. Even in the next company that they go, again, even if they are selected as leaders or managers, they fail in that particular criteria, and then
Hmm.
as a result, there are disengaged team or unhappy customer. There are a lot of such instances that are there in the corporate world. That is the biggest, I would say, one of the biggest, hurdles that is there, that hinders a person's promotion or growth to the next level, even if the person is technically very sound.
So how should people go about it? So as a professional, if I'm uh, so I think it comes down to two very basic things. One, how do I how do I even figure out, or how do I even realize that this is my weak point, or this is where I'm lacking? That's one. And second, let's say once I know, how do I get to a resolution? How do I get to improve myself in that area?
Hmm. So one way, of course, is when you keep on getting these there are a lot of times when we have these skip level meetings, Gaurav, wherein you happen to meet your boss's boss. So that skip level meeting,
Yes.
somehow the feedback that we get about a person as a leader or a manager, in terms from the mouth of the peers or their subordinates, is like, at times the statement says that, sir, we're not able to understand clearly as to what is expected out of us. The expectations are not very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So I think an honest feedback helps, and I do strongly believe that. In fact, in my career also, to my subordinates, and I have also facilitated such discussions wherein we have openly given feedback to managers at a very senior level also, that perhaps your team is not able to understand what is expected out of them. You're not able to comprehend it properly. You're not able to talk about it properly. Maybe you have certain expectations, in your mind, but you're not able to comprehend it in terms of what should be the do's and don'ts. So that is one way through which we understand. And the only, or rather one of the ways to correct it is for that individual to take serious actions, in terms of improving his or her communication. uh, Again, it is an individual's choice, because that person might or might not struggle. And again, let me reiterate the fact that the person's spoken English abilities may or may not be good. But here, when you talk to your team, you really do not speak always in English, right? I mean, in corporates, of course, in meetings and presentations, since English is a standard language, we do happen to. But I'm talking more from the point of view of expressing what you want others to do, or what is it that you have in mind. uh, I would typically give example also of, and I have seen this a lot of times in people who give presentations also. Let's say, a person who's coming to sell, or a person who's selling a particular project, to a group of team members or to management, often fumble upon this. They may be very good in, and have very bright ideas, but they're not able to express it properly. And I mean, more often than not, it is their lack of effectively communicating. That is that is that is uh, you know that that is one of the things that is an hindrance, that becomes a hindrance for them. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, I'm getting some comments wherein people are reporting that they are unable to hear us on LinkedIn.
Oh.
Just let me check quickly what happened. We'll carry on. Uh, some technical glitch. I hope it's not due to my mm, I'm using Bluetooth today. I don't know. Anyway, uh, so once I have zeroed in, let's say there is, so I know I have this challenge, and as you said, this is what I can do to overcome it. But most often, or maybe a lot of the, or at least a few times, I don't know, people will have this blocker that, okay, can I get some external help, or should I get some external help? Is there someone who can help me? Yeah. So there, how do you find such one, maybe a mentor, or is there something professionally, where I can go to get help on this matter? What's your opinion?
Sure. I mean, internally also, and externally also, I would say. But typically in a corporate world, people, it is very, I have this experience. I'm sure, I'm not very sure whether my colleagues would agree or not, but more often than not, the concept of mentors, in the corporate world, the concept of mentors are very understood in a very wrong, it's wrong connotation, meaning I hope we are good to go. I mean, are others able to hear us?
Yeah, I just switched.
Okay,
So hopefully
sure.
now this should be, yeah.
Sure. No, I was talking about the mentors. Some organizations have this wonderful arrangement of having mentors, but mentors are mostly to do with the do's and don'ts inside the company. I mean, or we do not have somebody who can, as a supervisor who can guide us to the next level and who can tell us. I mean, as an appraiser, when I'm appraising my employees, I can always tell them that this is the feedback, and you have to probably improve on your communication. But I fail to tell them how would they go about improving their communication. And I think in such areas, it is very important for a person to take external help. A communication coach always comes in to the rescue, can come into the rescue of such persons. I would say that please do not hesitate to take help. You know, if you go to a communication coach, that person will tell you step by step how would you go about improving it. To improve communication, if I have to tell you to improve your Java skills, you can do it by doing certifications quickly and do that. But when it is when the feedback is about improving a person's business communication, and that takes time, that takes guidance, that takes some hand holding. And I think it is always advisable to go to seek external help. If you can seek internal help within the organization, well and good. If not, then you must seek external help, because that will help you to give an outside perspective as to what is expected out of it. How would you communicate in a corporate, or rather I would say, how would you improve your business communication skills, you know to make you more, I would say, employable in the market, in your company also, and outside also. So definitely one should seek external help. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I can't disagree with it at all. I think one of the factors which I realized is wherein most often people fail is this acknowledgement itself that yes, you need help. Second, reaching
Yeah.
out to people and
Yes.
maybe in
Yes.
just in your network who you see that, oh, this is somebody who I can reach out and ask for help. Most often
Yes.
people have this blocker in their head itself. It's just the fear of rejection. Oh no, if I ask that guy, if he says no, what will happen? Why? So
Yeah.
people hesitate in just reaching out to people, just asking for help. I think that's a big blocker always.
Yeah, Gaurav, and it is also seen that at that level, even at a very senior level, you do hesitate. I mean, a person do hesitate to seek external help, because somehow they are in a very ignorant stage. Even if they are given a feedback, they're very in a very ignorant stage. They do not acknowledge the fact that they require help. And there is, I mean, there is. I would say that as a person or as a professional, I'm not expected to know everything. I'm not expected to be a jack of all. I may be a jack of a particular skill or a competency, but when it comes to probably effectively communicating my ideas, I may not be so good. So if I take help, then I would at least be able to, express my ideas and be more employable in the market along with my technical skills. People fail to
Interesting.
understand that.
No.
Yeah, they do fail to understand that.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
And now, so coming to the most interesting part, which I have also been waiting for.
Hmm.
What is this story showing thing all about? I'm sure everybody everybody wants to know about that. And so yes, what is this? So people have come across the term storytelling, and I'm sure everybody is familiar with that term. But what is this story showing? And again, how did it come in existing? Like why did you choose that term? Did you invent that term? And what are you're doing around it?
No, no, I certainly not invented that term. I mean, it has been used before. I remember back in Singapore in the year 2017, I was, working there. So I happened to attend one seminar by a young Australian entrepreneur. His name was Sam Cawthon. He actually is a CEO of Speakers Institute. I mean, that person had a conference wherein he used this term story showing. Yeah, as per, so I got pretty influenced by this, and I did my, I did happen to go through his seminar, and then later attended a couple of other seminars also. It was quite interesting to know that, you know, uh, in this era of storytelling, there is something called story showing also. So that the fact that stories have the ability to influence and to motivate others is a well known universal fact, right? But yet there are stories that fail to deliver on their fail to deliver on the expected results. So often the problem is not with the stories but how it is told. If you look at Oxford Dictionary or Cambridge Dictionary, it says the meaning of telling is to express, or rather, to tell or to speak about certain facts. But if you tell a fact, it would just it might register in a listener's mind, and it would just go away. But if you show a fact, it registers, it attempts to make an emotional connect with your listener, and has the ability or the power to transform your listener. you
Interesting.
know so that is how I thought that story showing is uh, probably a more effective way of expressing your thoughts and ideas to the world. I mean, no doubt stories are important. We do use stories, in corporate also, while presenting, or while talking to your peers, or giving presentations, or while giving a speech. You do use a lot of stories and storytelling. But if you really want to persuade and inspire your audience to and call them for an action, then you really have to connect with them via showing your story. And showing your story is nothing but showing the emotional side of the story and the vulnerability behind your story. You know, that is how you spark an emotional connect with your audience, and you tend to transform them. You tend to call for an action for them.
So
That is
how do you do
what.
that? How do you do that?
Uh, for that, you have to read my book. For that, you have to read my book, and it's available in Amazon.
Oh,
But
please share the name of the book so that everybody is again
well,
aware.
yeah, it is. It is. I
Oh
have
yes.
a copy of it. It is Stop Telling and Start Showing.
Piyush, can you just take it up a bit so that it
Yes,
shows the screen? Yeah,
yes.
that's cool. Uh,
Stop Telling, Start Showing.
right.
Yeah. So, as I was telling you that in order to authentically connect with your audience, see, again, there has been an instance. I'm not sure, as a child.
Sorry, Piyush. Now I'll interrupt. I think it makes more sense to talk about this itself first and then jump to the example. So how
Yeah.
did you become an author? Why this book, and how did it really happen? So yeah.
Well, I told you, right. I joined Toastmasters, and of course, this session, this seminar by Sam Cawthon, and I was pretty impressed by this idea of story showing. I kept on researching about it, and I kept on reading more about it, and then I spoke to a couple of my communication mentors, you can say. They how do they present their speech? And I came to know that the content of the speech matters probably only 20 to 30%. The way you say it or the way you present it constitutes the remaining 70%. So the
Wow.
impact of it that makes that it creates in your audience's mind, constitutes the remaining 70%. So I did a lot of speech crafting and speech telling. I participated in the speech contests also, and that is how I came to know that, yeah, probably, when you show your story, you know when you emotionally connect with your audience through your stories, it has a long lasting impact than merely standing and talking about facts and figures about a particular story. Yeah. So that is how this idea came into my mind. I did some more research, and I was always itching to write a book. So I thought, why not this subject? And what better opportunity than a
I'll,
lockdown?
I'll, I'll actually probe more on that itch. Why that itch? Why you have, people have an itch like to travel the world. They want to go on a vacation, or they want to eat something, or do something, what does this it's that you have to write a book?
Well, yeah, I mean, I was into creative writing right from my Toastmasters days, about
Oh, wow.
6 years ago, and I used to write, small speech, about 5 to 7 minute speech. I also, at certain events, I was also called as a keynote speaker. So there also, I used to prepare speech and used to go and used to do well, and so therefore
Cool.
the habit of creating writing was always there.
So
But
it's
yes,
not like an overnight thing
no,
that
no,
you
no, no,
dreamed up with and then you
no, no,
decided
no,
to
no, no.
write it. You have been an author in making that way for years.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then the lockdown time, Gaurav, was a good time because you didn't have anything to do after office hours. You were still in office, home. Within office hours, also you were in home. So so I had nothing to do. So I thought, why not utilize this time? And I started thinking more about it. I took help of an author coach, you
Cool.
know, Mr. Vineet Jera is his name. I took his help. I understood the process as to how to go about it because the very fact and idea of writing a book itself, the thought itself is it's very huge. My author coach helped me to break it down into small milestones. I
Interesting.
started writing about 300, 400 words every day, and eventually was able to pen down the entire script and then got it reviewed, formatted it, and then finally this book was published.
Wow. And how does this book really live up to story showing? Does it has anything which you can highlight?
Well, definitely. So the book has basically, it is divided into two parts. The first part purely talks about how to craft inspiring stories.
Interesting.
Uh, we all know that stories, as a part of your communication strategy always helps. Every company, every product, every human being, including you and me, have that unique value proposition in terms of our own stories that we have, our own learnings in life. You know, uh, so there is an art to pen it down. There is an art to pen it down in the form of a story, inspiring story. So the first part of the book deals with that. The second part of the book is more about how would you go about showing it. Now that talks a lot about non-verbal communication, a lot about your voice clarity. Then how would you pitch in? How would what are the things that you do in the stage? How to bring in that confidence to stand in front of a crowd and start talking. So all those things are there. So these are the two parts in which I've divided the book, and this is purely out of personal experience. I'd seen people speak. I have had the experience of crafting speeches, and I thought that when you express your ideas through your stories, through your learnings, then it helps to create that impact, and more importantly, it helps for you to call for an action for your audience. Now how does it translate? So for a businessman it means more customers and more profit. For a manager it means more engaged team, and for a leader it means more loyal followers. So end of it, by showing your story you transform the life of others,
Wow.
and you sort of change their way of thinking for a better towards betterment. So it does really help. So this book basically talks about that, and then of course the last chapter deals with certain case studies. I have had examples of, or I have had instances in people coming to me for help, sometimes from the company in which I worked, or otherwise my colleagues, my friends. So I how I ended up helping them, how I ended up helping them in crafting their own stories and improving their story showing ability is also been listed out in this book as a last chapter. So all in all, this book gives you the message is, if you want to express your thought, if you want for people to call for action, then stop telling, start showing.
Wow.
Hmm.
Interesting.
So that is how it is. And Gaurav, it also helps in the corporate world also. It also helps because, many a times we need in order to motivate our team, in order to call for action for our team, in order to tell them, because we have in that is how a manager is known, right? I mean, limited resources, and you have to give the maximum output. For that, you need to motivate your team. You have to really transform the way in which they work. And there, the this concept of crafting inspiring stories and showing it to your audience helps a lot. It does help a lot. And at times, it becomes the only deciding factor for your next level growth, because at a senior level, at a leadership level, all you to deal with is transforming, motivating people, and every day, so that they become a part of the company's mission and vision. They can help in making the company succeed in whatever is the company's objective. So crafting inspiring stories and motivating by showing it to your audience, helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Wow, that's very interesting. That story showing as a concept that people should look at. But how do I learn as a professional if I want to learn story showing? What's the way? How should I go about it?
Well, one way is to come to Piyush Ghosal. I am available at Super Pro. Book a session with me. You have the details. But yes, I think a lot of us do not know also the concept of stories and how powerful it could be.
Yes.
So, uh, you know, uh, we are so engrossed with our day-to-day work. We are so engrossed in the mundane tasks that we often forget to work on our own development. I would say that for this to know about the concept of stories and to learn the art of story showing, it's important to take help. It's important to learn through an expert. You must attend those sessions, and you must practice them. Learning itself would not help. You must practice them by using them in your day-to-day life, in your meetings, in your corporate presentations. So you must learn from an expert, and then you start implementing it simultaneously. Should do that.
Interesting.
So people have different, approaches towards effective business communication. People say that you have to be smartly dressed, you have to speak polished English, you have to do a lot of, maybe be very sophisticated and stuff, and use jargons and all. My mantra is very simple: craft inspiring stories. Everybody has their own struggles, have their own learnings. Pen it down in the form of an inspiring story and show it to the world.
So
And
when I come with
inspire
you
people.
as a professional to learn story showing, yeah, how is it structured? Like, do you have a program or something which I need to take on of like few sessions, or I just book an hour and you will give me everything in that 1 hour and I'll become the master or the expert in story showing? How does it work?
No, no, no. It definitely takes time. I have a structured. In fact, I'm working. I have my own website also, by the way. It's www.piyushghoshal.com, in which I intend to now. It's a lockdown time, so I intend to maybe publish a digital course in story showing. I'm working on it. But yes, definitely. I would love to consult and counsel people, and tell them for one to one also, because at times all you need is a little bit of hand holding, because you might already know the concept. It's just about getting it out in a very structured way. So that can happen in couple of sessions also, you know but important thing is to practice, because if you do not practice, whatever you learn, whatever practical tips that you learn, then it goes waste. So I would say yes, booking a couple of sessions with me would definitely help. To learn step by step. The art of story showing. Definitely, it does. Mhm.
Mm, just yeah, so I think we last 10, 12 minutes. Let me check if there are any questions from from audience. I'll quickly check. Uh, yeah, so guys, if you have any questions, now is the time. Please put in your questions and we'll take it up with Piyush.
So Gaurav, all throughout it has been me only. I mean, I really want to know also about your experience in. Do you believe that yes, it does help to have effective communication because you've also been, at least earlier in your career, have also worked in corporate, and if not, I mean, in personal life also, you feel that it does help.
Oh, definitely. That way I can say, yeah, I've been a storyteller. That's what even my hostel mates used to say that I am able to craft stories out of anything. And yeah, so and of course, as an entrepreneur, I learned it that yes, stories now, whether these are stories that you are using to inspire your team, to motivate your team, or you have stories that you need to tell to get investors. Yeah, it's all about storytelling only. Otherwise, yeah, each business that way you can look at. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, you do something and you make money. That's it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
No, I must say I follow your posts in LinkedIn and they're amazing. You the way you write with facts and figures and you the way you inform,
Oh,
very
thank
inspiring.
you. Thank you. Yeah, although I've been I've been a bit slack on that front. I thought I'll be sharing more stories on LinkedIn, but yes, and that's where again I think it's good that I got lazy. Now I have a different media, so this Pro Talk is one way
Absolutely,
wherein yeah we
absolutely,
are able to have stories from
absolutely,
a lot many people, and then we are able to share.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. That's an internal question. Actually, one of our teammates only is asking, how can story showing help in making a great first impression? That's a question from Vidya.
Okay, okay. So, if you, I mean, there is in my book only. There's a concept of storifying your way to success, and I just share an example. And it's a true example that actually happened. So basically, it is in the year 2006. We went for an interview in a major IT MNC as for the post of an HR exec, and there was my colleague also who was there. So we were about 10, 15 people, and then we were called one after the other. And I was very confident. I've studied everything, and I was very confident I'll be able to, crack that interview and get the role, grab the role. But end of it, that friend of mine who was Rajesh, he was selected. So when I asked him, what different did you talk in your interview that you got selected and out of the other. So he said he used one term. He said that I storified my way. Sorry. I said, what do you mean storifying your way? He said that I used stories. I used my personal experiences. That how have I solved, the organizational issues in my little experience, and then how can I be of help to them if they recruit me? That is how I went through. So that was the
Interesting.
first time, I'd learn about storifying. So it definitely helps to make a first impression. Yeah. By when you take help of crafting stories about your learnings and showing it with passion to your interviewer or for whichever audience you're talking about, it definitely makes a difference. It definitely makes a difference because you tend to then connect with that person emotionally, and you
True.
show you show your vulnerability to that person, and then you're able to strike at not only their head but also at their heart. So yeah, if not anything, they remember you. Yes, definitely.
That's very, very interesting. One thing that comes to my mind, which I'll share, is I noticed that so I have a son, 8 years, and he, of course, literally cooks up stories. There's like everything that he talks about it has a story, right? Whether it's even the most mundane incidents that will be there or something happens, he'll always narrate it in a way that this happened, and then this guy came in and he did this, and that's why I realized that if we look at it as children, we had this amazing imagination. We could weave stories, we could imagine things, and we could really put together stories. But as we grow up, somehow
Yeah,
we lose it.
we lose it.
Yeah,
We lose it, Gaurav. And storytelling or story showing comes naturally to us because if you look at our ancestors, forefathers, the
very
way
true.
they used to communicate was through stories, and as children, we adopted. But as and when we grow, thanks to our education system, thanks to the fact that we study only for getting a job, and we become so fact oriented. That we somehow lose that art of storytelling and story showing. Sad, but yes.
Yes,
So the
very
idea
true.
is to revive that art again, because that is where success lies. I think you stand out of the crowd. In order to be seen out of the crowd, you need to have something unique in you. And I think this storytelling, story showing actually helps to for you to stand apart the crowd and become visible in this crowd of many professionals.
So we have one more question. I'll check. Not here. No, it has come via somebody who registered earlier. Okay. What types of stories? Okay. What types of stories that we can build on the spot that doesn't hurt different cultures?
Hmm. Okay, so
I think the question is more about how can
yeah,
we,
impromptu.
yeah, come up with
Build up
stories
stories
while
impromptu.
while being sensitive to different cultures.
Okay. No, you need not have to speak about, and even if you speak about culture, I'm sure when you craft a story, it will be out of your own experience. And even if you are from a particular culture, it would not hurt the others because then you would be speaking purely out of your own experience, without being judgmental. So I would say impromptu. When you're asked to speak impromptu, you speak about an incident that happened, and the way you reacted to that incident, and that is your own experience. That need not hurt anybody because that is what you how you had acted in that particular time or that particular moment. So it need not hurt anybody because different people react differently to different situations. And we all, although have our own upbringings, it is uniquely ours. So it need not hurt anybody because that is unique in our own way. And you need not offend, you're not offending anybody if you are bringing it out and showing it to the audience. It just talks about how have you handled that situation. It is your inbuilt culture, and that has nothing to do with others culture. I mean, the other would have a different way, a different style. You had that style. So you cannot offend anybody by sharing your own experience or handling a situation. Yes.
Interesting.
Mm.
Cool. So we don't have any more questions coming in. And okay. Uh, yeah. Cool. I think yeah, we are about time. So yeah, I think we can as well close now. I was I had something in my mind. I forgot. Something I wanted to ask. Maybe I'll connect with you later. I just while
Mm.
reading that question about culture, whatever I had in my mind got skipped. I don't know. Uh, Okay, cool. No, great. I think we can close the session unless you want to add anything more, Piyush.
No, it's just is that I mean, in today's world, we are very fortunate. I mean, the fact that change has become evitable. I mean, it is everywhere. Be it in the government, be it in the economies, be it in consumer behavior, be it in your career. Now it's, we are living in a world where there are a lot of options. If you go to the market to buy a soap, you have hundreds of options. And more options bring more confusion. More options means more confusion, and you tend to get lost in that.
True.
But it is also equally exciting time wherein you can break out from that old school or orthodox way of progressing in your career and do something which is close to your passion. I mean, be it anything, absolutely. I know instances of people preparing tea, and they prepare such a good and taste tea that they have opened a shop, and therefore they have opened a chain of shops, and they have become famous.
Wow.
So that is their passion. So nowadays, you don't have to slog to get into IITs, if I have to say that, Gaurav. You have other options also, and you become successful
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
It is important to follow your passion. It is important to get help early on. It is important to break the shackles of orthodox style of progressing, and get professional help and move up in your career, decide your own fate. And to the professionals, I would say, the corporate professionals, I would say that it is not I mean, if you aspire to get into that leadership level, if you aspire to grow into the next level, it is equally important to work on your business communication. It is equally important, and for that, if you have to get help, do get professional help. And because it will make you more employable in the market and help you to grow in your present job, or to get a better opportunity. Yes, that's all from my side.
Great, great. Thanks a lot, Piyush. And with that, yeah, I think we can close today's wonderful session. I
Thank
hope
you.
everybody enjoyed as much as I did. I got to learn again something more today. I think that's the advantage of being the founder of SuperPro. I get to talk to so many amazing people.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Gaurav, for giving this opportunity.
oh,
Thank you, Super Pro team. Thank you very
pleasure is all ours. And to everybody who is watching it, yes, in case you missed, Piyush is very much available on Super Pro, and you can learn this art, or rather, you can master this art of story showing from him by booking him on Super Pro. Yeah. So please go ahead and try it out and change your life. And that those of you who are still there watching us, and those who will watch the recorded version later on, yes, the links, the Super Pro page link of views is there in the comment. It's going to be there in the description as well. So you can try it out later as well. Thanks a lot for joining in. It was a wonderful session by Piyush. And yeah, I can actually say we look forward to hosting Piyush, sometime later in future as well. It was really interesting. And yeah,
much.
with that, yeah, have a great weekend to all of you, and good night. I take your leave. We'll be
Good
back
night.
with another session of Pro Talk next week. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.